Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Xeno, the personification of a cry for help, and we are back with Silverstone. I know, it's been a minute, but we're finally back. Now I need to give you all an update about my channel and the games I was supposed to play for this month. Now, I had specific the game that wasn't a visual novel that I wanted to play, but for some reason I guess my computer's graphics card isn't compatible to play the game, so now I had to scrap that. Which is just swell. Like, I know we had to continue Don Chorus, catch up with the Promises to Keep update, and also play a little bit of All Under Control, a nice VN suited for the Halloween season since it is pretty spooky. But you know what? Silverstone has some spooky elements to it too. I mean, it is a psychological horror, so it fits the vibe, right? Well, in saying that, Don Chorus definitely does not fit the Halloween vibe, except the pure horrors of me not being able to get Bjorn's fine ass. But anyway, let's continue with this, shall we? So last night we left off on, we went sightseeing on the town, and a lot of things that we saw looked very much the same as our dream. And then we white girl fell, hurt ourselves. We saw an old church that I think it has something to do with the mass exodus that happened to this town. But we came back to our motel room and we just left. So yeah, there's that. Well, anyway, let's continue, shall we? The annoying yet familiar sound of a news broadcast is comforting to me for once, as I lay in bed with sweat soaking in my fur. My first proper view of the motel room reveals a place of chaos. Jade's clothes from yesterday are strewn across the floor, and Mason's breakfast takes over the work desk. There's no sign of the big dog, but Jake is tapping away on his phone on the bed across from mine. Judging from the sheets, I'm guessing they both slept on that bed while I was asleep and sick. I sit up and pull my shirt off. It reeks of body odor and I feel sick just smelling my scent. Jake peers over, the attention on his phone now broken. He walks over to me, but strangely his expression isn't cheerful like yesterday. Hey! His tone has a cutting edge to it, irritation slicing through the air. He quickly catches himself before sitting next to me. His nose scrunches up once he gets a whiff of me, though. Oh, fuck, man, you reek! My only response is a nervous chuckle. Try not to scratch the back of my head out of fear that I'll make the smell worse by lifting my arms up. Sorry, didn't mean to sound like an asshole. You feeling any better? I guess. At least I don't feel like vomiting anymore and my foot stopped being sore. This seems to break the raccoon's irritability, as he stands up and pats my shoulder. I can tell by his crooked smile that he's trying to ignore the sweat on his hand. Glad to hear. Jake returns the testing away, or trying to, before I notice a stream of light coming through the curtains. How long did I sleep? Well, it's 10 a.m. right now, so... Wait, what? I could only groan in embarrassment, curling back under the covers before Jake pats my arm. You and June were both really out of it last night, man. If we woke you guys up, I think you'd be worse off today. Wait, June slept through the night too? Yeah, Silas just told me he woke up a few minutes ago. Despite the good news, Jake's frown returns. I'd rather not push the issue though. Instead, I hobble out of bed. I'm gonna shower and then we can hang out with the others. Everyone's kind of doing their own shit today, actually. Fuckers are all over the place. Oh. I guess I should have expected this hitch in the plans, considering what happened. I can't help but feel like something's off, though. Well, do you want to do anything, then? Jade stretches behind his head, letting a deep sigh escape him. Now that I'm up, I do notice he looks kinda tired. I wave my hand in acknowledgement before grabbing a clean shirt, but the raccoon's frown rests upon his face. Maybe later, okay? If you hurry, though, you might be able to catch Mason. He's shooting photos on the trail out back. There's a trail behind the... I'm distracted by the raccoon pointing down at me. His eyes are fixated on my arms. What's happening? Oh! The furs on his wrists are really shaggy compared to the fur on his arm. The world around me warps as I stare at my wrists. The fur pressed down just like in my nightmare. I can feel my breathing get unsteady and my heartbeat starts to drum louder and louder, consuming my thoughts. Jake brings me back to reality undergoes gravity as he gently rocks my shoulder. I look back up at him before returning to my arms. All that entangles me now is a feeling of being dazed and confused. Dude, what's up with your wrists? That doesn't look normal. Oh yeah, we were like bound in our dream when we saw the gloopy jackal monster. Our wrists were restrained, so that translates to the real world. I must have gripped him when I was asleep. Yeah, that's what happened. Don't lie to yourself, ho! Despite the cold air still creeping its way through the area, the harsh sunlight is welcome. Just standing under its rays warms me up slowly, and I can feel the remaining drops of water in my fur start to disappear from the heat. Jade went out earlier to avoid housekeeping, so I had the awkward pleasure of talking to them when exiting our room. I have no idea if Mason's still on the trail, but a short hike doesn't sound too bad right about now. The walk will distract me from clawing at my wrist, at least, although my fur had thankfully puffed back up when I shook my arm dry with the one towel I had. I waved goodbye to the sun as I exit its tender embrace and head on over to the trail entrance. The haphazardly laid wooden planks remind me that I need to hit the gym sometime. I'm already out of breath by the time I reach the opening of the trail. Sure enough, Mason is crouched by the entrance, carefully handling Silas's camera. I remember both of them being into photography when we were kids, but I didn't know Mason still had an affinity for it. I plant my feet behind the dog and lightly tap his shoulder. His ears twitch when I do so, and he looks back at me, flashing his goofy grin. Just scan some photos of the area in case I need them. Just be careful with the camera, okay? Silas probably paid a fortune for it. Mason just laughs before he sits down, letting his feet hang off the edge of the trail as he snaps another picture of the town. You feeling any better? You really took a turn yesterday. I give a weary sigh, sitting down next to the dog. The unexpected lack of footing below my feet gives me a fright, but I manage to turn my attention to the conversation. Well, I don't feel like throwing up anymore, so I guess I'm alright. The shutter clicks again, this time in my ear, as Mason takes another picture. From the direction the lens is pointing in, I guess he just took a photo of the church. Once he gets a good look at the preview, he sets the camera down on the dirt and puts his hand on my shoulder. Well, that's good to hear. The dog kicks his feet as he flashes his teeth at me again, seeming to be content. He puffs his chest out before laying out a deep exhale. I think I'm going to get something to drink. Want anything? Mason bounces out of his sitting position into a full-blown stance, picking up the camera in the process, its underside now caked with dust. I shake my head, which causes Mason to raise his eyebrow a tad as he slings the camera strap over his head, wearing it like a messenger bag. I'm actually gonna hit the trail, need some fresh air. Do you have a water bottle at least? I'll be fine, Mason. I'm not a kid anymore. I tell that to myself rather than him. Mom had babied me enough already over in Texas, and I'm not going to let my own brother do the same. Okay, just come back if you start to feel sick again, alright? I will. Don't worry. I picked myself up and began to walk into the trees, but Mason grabs my wrist. I flinch and almost attempt to pull my arm out, still a bit shaken about earlier. Wait, this is gonna sound cheesy. What's up? Mason breathes in deep, then exhales through his nose. He crosses his arms, his stance rigid, though he kicks a small rock down the hill as he begins to speak. You remember the day you reached out again, right? Yeah? What about it? Well, it was actually Dad's birthday. My eyes widen at the revelation. Mason had seemed extremely happy, but I assumed that was just because we were talking again. Yeah, birthdays were hard for him. Well, the both of us, since your mom moved. He really missed having you around during those times. Mom, not so much. I stifle a laugh, but Mason looks dead serious about the matter. He brings his hands to his sides, looking straight at me. Dad and I really missed you, you know that? The day we heard from you was the day I saw the light in Dad's eyes again. Although it was touching, even Mason can't completely hold it in when he finishes his statement. He keels over in embarrassment while I cackle with all my might. When we finally calm down, smiles are planted on both of our faces, and I don't feel awkward around Mason for the first time on this trip. It's as if we had never split up during the Exodus, and we're now just two grown-up kids catching up on the good old days. I do mean what I said, though, even if it was cheesy as hell. You'll have to give me Dad's number sometime so I can text him once we're not, well, here. I'll make a mental note of it. I wave back at Mason as I head down the trail. It's only a few feet away from the entrance that I hear him shout at me. Your ass! What? You have dirt on your ass! My ears heat up as I hurriedly brush the dust off of my shorts, and all the while I can hear Mason laughing as he heads down to the motel. As he looks back one more time with tears in his eyes, I playfully give him the middle finger. The dog arches his back in hysterics before he disappears behind the building. Stupid. I chuckle to myself as I descend under the canopy. The sun I said farewell to earlier is once again leaving. This time it disappears through the cacophony of leaves. The view of the trees distracts me from the path paved with litter and roots. Hot dog trays and half-finished iced coffees have been thrown to the wayside, and my skin crawls when I see the ants. Considering the populace here, I can't help but think that the residents have just given up and have started treating everything like their landfill now. Cool air brushes through my fur as I continue to hike, and I begin to regret not bringing a jacket on the trip. I'm half tempted to buy one when I reach the tourist trap, but I don't know if I want I Heart Silverstone plastered on something I own. I'd probably end up buying more ice cream too, since my cone flew out of my hand yesterday. It's not because I threw it out, because the flavor was disgusting. Yeah, no, it's not that. I clearly wanted that flavor. You didn't fool me, Jake. I really like that flavor. I loved goat cheese and pomegranate. Oh, wait, no, it was blue cheese and pomegranate. Fuck. Truly, a never-ending cycle of mishaps. I get lost in my thoughts as I continue down the trail, almost as if the hike is an enabler of anxiety. I start to see more dangerous items amongst the trash strewn about here and there. I almost stepped on a used needle covered in dead buds. I begin to speed walk, trying not to run into more dangers as I snake my feet around the misshapen roots. My brain functions zero in on maneuvering around the obstacles in front of me. Chips, soda, needle, chips, hot dog, razor, coffee, soda, needle. The last thing I want is to be sick in or go to the hospital. I get a collective earful if that happens. I begin to think that the previous area is just a junkie's paradise, since the needles slowly start to disappear from the mud. Any glint of metal I see sets off alarm bells in my head, however. Even a drop of dude gets to me at one point. The trash seems to dissipate as well, minus the occasional plastic fork or napkin blowing through the air. That's when I hear it. Waves. I stop dead in my tracks, trying to convince myself I'm mistaken. And then another torrent crashes against the sand. There's no way I could have walked all the way from the motel to Silverstone. It's a 10-minute drive to get there. What is that, an hour of walking? 2? I start to regret never getting my license as my math fails me. A sense of relief rushes over me when the exit comes to view. With each step, however, the ocean waves grow in volume. It reminds me of my nightmares and just how surreal the environment could get. What seemed like a short walk could become an accordion of space and time. The trash and hazards are nearly gone by now, with the scant few remaining just being saltwater taffy wrappers and loose change. Though the sight of a used condom paints a rather unpleasant image in the back of my head. On that sickening note, my walk leads me to Silverstone's beach. I shield my eyes from the sun as I exit the shade, nearly tripping when I make my way down the shoddily built steps. The sand somehow manages to reach up to the steps, and I curl my toes as I feel the grains underneath my feet. Thankfully, the steps lead right to the sidewalk in between the shore and the resort. I hastily brush the dust off my feet as I make my way to the pavement, before being met by the sorry state of the town. I had never seen a beach so empty in real life before. It almost makes each cloud that manages to appear in the sky more prominent than it would be otherwise. Although, to say it's uninhabited would be incorrect, as a few residents still roam the town. Most of them sit outside of restaurants, presumably being too lazy to cook at home. To my surprise, it doesn't take long to find one of my friends. June is sitting on a bench facing the ocean, half asleep as he props his head up with his elbow on the armrest. June! Wait, Zeke? My hail for the badger is interrupted by a familiar voice next to me. I don't even have to turn around to guess who it is. Kelsey and, to my shock, Silas walked up to me. Thankfully for the three of us, June didn't seem to notice my call. Silas has another ice cream cone in his hand, while Kelsey is holding what appears to be a pamphlet. I preemptively prepare myself for whatever trip she's about to propose this time. A wide grin strewn across her face. When did you get here? You look a lot better. Thanks. I just got here, actually. Took that there trail over there. Silas attempts to peer around the corner, but the trees near the trail entrance don't help him out. I guess Kelsey already knew about the trail since she barely reacts. I see. Well, glad you're out and about. I am too, not gonna lie. I kinda feel like I ruined your guys' day yesterday. You didn't. Silas's interjection is sharp with precision, much louder than the bear has been for most of the weekend. His expression stays positively neutral, but I can't help but notice his ears turn red as he returns to his ice cream. Aww. Anyway, you know how you want to get your memories back? My muscles stiffen as I hear the question. Silas looks down at both of us, at me with concern and Kelsey with criticism. It's not light to say that, but I did want to spend a few days just hanging out with the others before digging everything up. Yes? Well, it turns out that the Silverstone Historical Library is still here. Wait, like, the one from when we lived here? Kelsey seemed proud to have captured my attention, and my gaping mouth closes back to a half-hard grimace. Exactly. I was thinking we could go tomorrow if you want. That's a hell of a question to spring, Kels. You don't have to answer right away. You can let me know tomorrow if you want. Yeah. It's funny how I'm giving Kelsey the country accents when, canonically, Zeke has the country accents. Because he lived in Texas. But I need to give a voice to Kelsey. I don't know, y'all sue me. I'll be heading over by then anyway, so it'll work out if you change your mind as well. Silas's and my eyes meet, both of our arms squish into our sides. Kelsey seems a bit too overzealous about this, even for someone who's a hardcore academic. I'll think about it, okay? No pressure. I'm going to look around some more, maybe get something to eat. You guys want to find a place with me? I actually do want to look around a bit, but I'm not too hungry right now. Especially after seeing all those needles and condoms, I tell myself. Fair enough. Silas, what about you? The bear jumps, almost like he's unprepared to answer. He stares down at his ice cream, but Kelsey doesn't seem to get the hint. I'm good. I actually wanted to ask Zeke something, if that's okay. Silas's voice quiets as he tosses Kelsey. Both my ears and the cheetah's perk in curiosity, and I try to imagine just what he could want to ask. Anything you want to ask Zeke, you just say in front of me. Kelsey's being a bit too overprotective, right? Like, that's a bit weird. Like, yes, I know, I guess we're a lot closer to Kelsey than we are anyone here, but I wouldn't mind spending some time alone with this bear, if you know what I'm saying. Kelsey's smile is laced with an insidious air, almost seeming overprotective, right? Right? The bear draws into himself, and he looks away from the cheetah as he tosses through his teeth. Not this time. Kelsey's expression drops like a disappointed parent who's trying to draw the truth out of you after you've fucked up. I'm expecting a huge reaction, but she walks away instead. Silas glances over his shoulder and, despite his size, he looks almost scared of her. So, what did you want to ask? Oh, right. The bear fumbles his ice cream, almost dropping it to the ground. His yelling draws attention to us from the few town residents. It's almost cute, but that is adorable. I was wondering if we could talk tomorrow, actually. That's it? I mean, it's something serious, Silas sighs, his exhale louder than the way he speaks most of the time. He's almost defeated, taking a huge chunk of his ice cream. I playfully pat his shoulder and flash a grin that Mason would be proud of. I can probably make time. Sal's eyes brighten, and I swear that this is the first time that he smiled on his trip. He lets some melted ice cream off his hand before looking back at me. Well, just let me know when, okay? I nod and give a thumbs up, chuckling as the bear walks off. If I didn't know better, I would say he was skipping down the sidewalk. That's adorable! Ah! I'm so easy! All of that took a lot of energy out of me, so I looked around for a bench to rest my poor body on. That's when I remember. Gio nods himself awake as I sit down next to him. There's a fair amount of space in between us, but it feels wrong to get too close to him. Hey. The badger nods, his eyes looking toward the ocean. He lets out a big yawn, the volume of it almost drowned out by the salty sea breeze. You look better. Huh? Oh yeah, that. I guess I just need some sleep or something. Judging by his demeanor, it seems he didn't get much. Now that I think about it, I feel groggy as all hell too. June shifts around on the bench, bringing his right leg on top of his left while I stretch my arms out. Later my shoulders crack as I do before bringing my hands behind my head. Oh, that's cute. The sun paints the ocean water with hues of orange and red as we sit in silence for a bit. There's a pull between us that feels forbidden. It's not romantic, quite the opposite. I have trouble putting it into words, and if I tried, it would probably upset June that I said them aloud. Hey, Zeke? I break eye contact from the ocean for a bit when June speaks up. He still stares out into the sea, his eyes glowing from the reflection of the water. What's up? Do you think it was a mistake to come here? Why? Don't things feel a little bit awkward to you? I mean, things were going to be awkward no matter where we met. How do you talk to someone you haven't seen in 15 years, you know? I guess. It's just, it feels like my skin is crawling whenever I set foot in this town. I'm fine at the motel, but here, I just want to get out. I can't disagree with June. My mind returns to the matted wrists from this morning, and I can't help but rub one of them as the badger continues. And it feels like no one wants to rip off the band-aid and talk about the Exodus. I mean, I would if I could. June finally turns to me, his face incredulous as if I spiked a volleyball right into his snout. You really don't remember anything. I let out a sigh as I stand, letting my hands drop to my sides. June peers over at me, putting his hands on his knees as he sits upright. You remember when you first moved here? God, don't remind me. Yeah, those kids were assholes. Still, I'm glad you came. I wouldn't have met you if you didn't move here. I'm just wondering where that June is now, you know? The June that I ride bikes with to school, or the one who would play train card games with me at recess. June's eyelids droop, his face having a frown etched onto it. The badger gets up, stretching as he steps away from the bench. You're still with that June, Zeke. People change. Don't let nostalgia blind you like it does Mason. He's got a point. I think I'm gonna find Kelsey and Silas and head back to the motel. June stretches behind his ear, an anxious habit I remember from elementary school. He tries to maneuver around me as I try to find some words, something to say. I don't think he will like if we reach for his hand. Should we? Or call out to him? Now let's call out. June, wait. The badger thankfully stops right after he slips past me. He looks back with a cocked eyebrow and his hands in his pockets. I didn't mean to imply anything, it's just... I know. I'm different now. I'd rather talk about it tomorrow if that's okay. I'm just tired. Okay. June waves bye to me as he leaves, and my ears fall as I lie back down on the bench. I let out the most dramatic groan I could muster before shielding my eyes from the sunlight. I guess it was foolish of me to think that everyone was having a positive experience here. I would even consider my own time rather mixed. Still, it feels shitty knowing that June isn't having a good time. I start to wonder why the badger even came on this trip if he knew he wouldn't enjoy it. Fuck, this bench sucks. As I readjust myself, trying to get into a more comfortable position, I see it again. The cliff taunts me from afar. The absence of the lighthouse causes an itch in the back of my brain that grows in intensity the more I stare at it. That kind of itch that draws you in, almost as if you want more of the sensation. The itch you scratch until you bleed. With nothing better to do, I swing my lids off of the bench, knees cracking as I stand up. At least I'll get to solve one memory today. Compared to the trail from earlier, the hike up to the cliff is tranquil. The path is fairly smooth, with no roots jutting out from the ground, and is devoid of trash or anything that could seriously injure me. Memories of the past flood my mind as I continue to walk up, and it's almost as if I can see ghosts of our former selves run up ahead. Mason would tell us to hurry up while June, Silas, and I would try to race him. Meanwhile, Kelsey would take her time walking up and Jake would be the wild card. Once, Mason and I had to go home before we even made up the trail, since Jake jumped on my shoulders and I ended up with a face full of dirt and blood. I pop out of my nostalgia as I see something I don't remember from my childhood. A gravestone that's starting to collapse on the side of the walkway. I bend down to examine it, praying that I don't fall over and break it as I come down. It reads, "Here lies Jessa Atterbury. He still lives in our hearts even in death. December 7th, 1899. The death date is chipped off, though I'm fairly certain I see what remains of a 7 on the end. I can't even fathom how we didn't notice this as kids. If we did, we wouldn't have been that bright-eyed, especially here." Before I could think further on the matter, a gust of wind assaults me as I step out onto the open cliff. It stuns me to see just how far from the town I actually am once I made it onto the open grass. The bench I had been sitting at a few moments ago is now nothing but a speck from this high up. To be honest, I don't know what I expected coming up here. The itch is still there, but it's more from an innocent curiosity into a fervent anxiety. A branch snaps behind me, making me jump in surprise and land in a pose with a foot still in the air. The shadowed person brushes some of the leaves away, allowing me to see their face. "Chill, it's just me." Jake steps out onto the cliff to join me. He's holding a bag of groceries, as well as what used to be a 6-pack of cheap beer. 2 of the plastic rings are empty, leaving the 4 remaining cans lopsided as the raccoon carries them. He stretches behind his neck, embarrassed, before seeing himself in the grass. "I got this for everyone, but, vices and all that." "Well, I don't really drink, so..." "Oh, no shit?" "Yeah, I went on a bender a couple years ago when I left Mom's. Let's just say I found myself back at Mom's." I lie down next to Jake, letting the blades of grass brush my ears as I breathe in the fresh air. It's not long before I feel a bit drowsy, but Jake pats me awake. "Yo, your wrist okay?" "Huh? Oh, yeah, they're fine now. Don't know what caused that." Mind if I ask something?" "Shoot." "Why'd you come up here? I saw you at the entrance and got curious." "Oh, well, I've been having some bad nightmares lately. See, I'm in the town, but it's like a version you see in a horror movie. Shit goes sideways, nothing makes sense. And this cliff has a lighthouse on it." Jake's interest is piqued, a shitty smirk aimed right at me. He leans back, the tip of his fur scratching my nose before kicking my shin. "That's why you came up here?" I know it's dumb. "Nah, dreams are weird and can make us do weird things. Plus, it brought you up here. Remember the campout we attempted here as kids?" "Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Didn't you have to go to the hospital from burn your hand?" "That was a science lesson I really didn't want to learn the hard way." Jake sits up, showing me his hand. There's a scar from where he had burned himself with a metal marshmallow stick as a kid. It grazes through his fur and onto his paw pads, coloring the usually black palm with a light brown streak. If Kelsey's dad had come when he did, that could have been really bad. "The one time strict parenting helps someone." The air becomes a bit heavy at the mention of the topic. From what I can recall from our chats, Jake pretty much cut his parents off after he turned 16. After his mom remarried, I rarely saw her or his stepdad. We saw plenty of Jake though. You good, man? You zoning out a bit. Huh? Oh, yeah. I'm just a bit tired. I think I'm going to take a short nap here. You sure? Yeah, I'll be fine. Well, okay, but I'm going to stay here just in case. I'm not going to fall off the cliff, Jake. Oh, just go to sleep. The raccoon shoves his hand in my face, and I flare my arms with futility before he backs off. We both laugh before watching the sun start to creep down, my eyelids mimicking its pattern. I could hear Jake lie back down as I start to fall asleep. I just hope I can have some peace for 20 minutes at least. I don't think so. Who knows, the gloopy jackal monster might be— what the hell is that?
That's what she said. And you know what? What was that?
Zeke! I'm startled awake by the raccoon, whose frantic look concerns me. I wipe my arm across my brow, which has become drenched with sweat. The sky is no longer a vibrant orange, instead being washed out with green and blue as twilight starts to fade. How long was I asleep? Dude, you were out cold. I've been trying to wake you up for like the past hour. You just stayed asleep looking— Jake stops himself, looking down at the grass. It's only now I notice he's on top of my stomach. The beer is thrown to another part of the cliff. That's not cute. I twist myself around and Jake gets off. He collects the beer as it comes back to me, his hands descending into his pockets. The others should have driven back to the motel by now. We're gonna have to take the trail back there. I gulp as the idea crosses my mind. The image of stepping on a needle in the dark haunts me. Okay, see, that's what happens when you don't let your furry characters wear shoes in your universe. This shit happens. You know what? Actually, I have a lot of, questions regarding, furry worlds where they don't wear shoes versus furry worlds who wear shoes. Because it's entirely possible for them to wear shoes. It's perfectly possible. But for some reason, people just don't like drawn shoes on these characters, and they just leave them barefoot. Now, here's a weird question. You're gonna be walking around on the dirt outside. Your feet are gonna get really dirty. How do the foot fetishists feel about that? And also, if you wear shoes, you wouldn't have fear of stepping on a heroin needle. So, there's that. So many problems could be solved if these furries just wear shoes. Okay. Jake sighs as my voice wavers. I do agree with him somewhat, though, since it's the fastest way to get back on foot. Come on, let's go. Beers are warm. Jake walks on ahead of me into the pit of darkness created by the trees, and he turns on his cell phone flashlight and beckons me over. You okay, right? Yeah, I'm fine. Okay, just let me know if something's up, alright? You are as stiff as a board. I tousle his hair, and my left foot lands into the middle of the light. The trail becomes even brighter when my own flashlight joins his, leaving Jake's fur flushed white. I'm okay, Jake. Don't worry. Are you alright? Jake covers his eyes as he walks towards me, shielding them from the glare from my phone. He brushes past me, and the raccoon I usually see returns as he runs down the trail. Never better. Come on, let's go back already. Hey, wait! Jake disappears into the trail, and I nearly trip as I chase him down. Our footsteps are drowned out by the waves crashing on the shore, and his laugh almost joins them. Whenever I look up from the light on the ground, all I can see are those eyes staring down at me. Yeah, that was weird. Jake holds my shoulder as he guides me through the trail. The bag of groceries hits the back of my arm and my chest like a pendulum. Despite the lights, we still come across surprise obstacles pretty often. Unlike myself, Jake just kicks the needles into the brush as we walk, seemingly fearless. I mentally admonish him each time, air hissing through my teeth with each disposal. The idiot chuckles at my concern, just yanking me through the trash as we reach the motel. That was fun. We're met by a parking of fluorescent lights as we enter the motel parking lot. Either the owner can't afford to change them or just doesn't care. Half the lights are already burnt out. Mason's face is brightly illuminated by the one near our room. He's sitting on the ground outside our door, nervously biting the nails on one of his hands while holding his phone in the other. He bounces up as we approach him, nearly falling back as he lands awkwardly on his feet. Jake gives him a wave with his now free hand, in a struggle to hold back a giant yawn. Hey, I was worried when the others returned without you two. The frown on Mason's face places a weight of guilt on my shoulders and I almost apologize before Jake steps in. I doubt we would have fit in the SUV anyway. I got 2/3 of a sets back as well. Someone was gonna walk back anyway. Mason doesn't seem entirely convinced. To be honest, I don't think it would have worked on me either. The dog lets out a deep sigh before a yawn, though, seemingly too tired to argue right now. Well, at least you're okay. The others are actually inside our room now. Huh? Why? Are we gonna have a movie night? Silas and June spotted something in town that they thought might be a bit fun. Well, probably just Silas. What is it? Mason opens the door to her room. The two of us stand there in confusion. After the dog enters, Jake follows and I see him toss the beers onto my bed. I hold up my phone to check the time. It's 10 p.m. I must be going crazy. It feels like the time here doesn't make any sense. I swear we weren't gone that long. I shove my phone back in my pocket and head to my bed, where the others had already gathered to collect their share of beer. Why is the beer so fucking warm? June looks down at his can of beer with disappointment before taking another sip. He grimaces as he drinks, and I can see a bit run down his muzzle. You can blame this doofus for sleeping so long. Sleeping? Kelsey raises an eyebrow, and I can feel several eyes on me. I leer at Jake, who tries to pull off an innocent look, but ends up looking constipated instead. We went to the cliff where we used to play. I kind of took a nap. Kind of, you did. Jake pulls my chest as he readjusts himself, lighting his head where my feet would be. Meanwhile, Mason and Silas are also shooting glum looks at their beers. It seems like we'll need the cars for beer runs. Anyway, you guys have an idea for something we could do tomorrow? Silas's ears perch up like a kid getting to choose a full-size candy bar on Halloween, while June looks down. I guess he was roped into this rather than being a willing participant. You all know the bar down by the resort, right? Oh, you mean Hurley's? Oh, not anymore. It's called Sam's now. Same owner, surprisingly. Huh, wonder why the name changed. Well, on Fridays they have a 2-for-1 special. Some drink called a Silver Bullet. Bullet? Sounds strong. Anyway, we thought it could be a fun activity. Go early tomorrow, look around the town while the alcohol wears off, then play some card games here or something. Silas's voice begins to trail off the laundry and goes. His smile turns to a timid frown, but it's strictly erased by Mason patting him on the back. I think it would be cool to do. Plus, I looked at the menu and the drink has a whole story behind it. Definitely a tourist trap, but at least it was lore. Of course the history buff is pulled in with that. June shoots a judging glare at Mason before sipping his beer again. Words seep through his teeth as he tosses a can into the garbage bin across the room. If everyone else is going, I'll join. Wait, you already said yes, Kels? Yeah, I was there when they found it. I think it'd be fun. A little prehistorical celebration. I'd audibly groan at the pun. The only one who seems impressed by it is Mason, to no one's surprise. Wait, Zeke, you don't drink, right? Wait, really? I'm sorry, I didn't know. I think I can handle one celebratory drink. I still have wine at, like, weddings and stuff. You sure you'll be okay? Yes, I'll be fine. My irritation creeps through a bit too much, taking Jake aback. Sorry, just checking. No, my bad. I'm just not a kid anymore, guys. Mason rescues me from the predicament, although Jake seems only half convinced. The dog chucks his can at the garbage bin like a basketball, horribly missing its target. That doesn't seem to break his conviction, though. So, when should we leave? 10 a.m. good for everyone? Yeah, we all would have eaten everything. Should be good. Silas and June both nod while Jake gives a thumbs up. I just flash a smile, which Mason returns to me twice as large. Alright then, let's get to sleep, everyone. Kelsey and June and Silas pile out of the room and Mason starts to get into his pajamas. Jake fiddles with his phone on the bed before I poke his chest. Hey. Sup? He shoots me a cocky grin before I drift my eyes to the bed. Oh, right. The raccoon scampers off, flopping over onto his and Mason's bed. I throw my shirt off and sit down, staring out the window at the sky across the motel. I barely notice myself falling asleep. How did we get the one bed? Come on, Jade, come with me. I'm at the bottom of that damn lighthouse. It's almost a relief to not have a pseudo-intellectual conversation with that person for once. On the other hand, it's just boring. I get up off the ground and start heading up the stairs. The voices I start to hear are unmistakable, though the words they say are questionable. I jump when I hear a pistol cock, only to see nothing behind me. What was best, Zeke? What? Next, I'm assaulted by the jeers of what I made out to be an angry mob. Their cries calling for blood. Wait a minute, is this gonna be like bits and pieces of the Exodus that you forgot, but he's there vaguely remember now? Alright, I can fix this! My footsteps bleed away from the cold stone to the crunch of the gravel and dirt. The stairs remain the same, so I accept it as another hallucination. It'd have to be better this way. I didn't think I was scared, but I could feel my fingers tremble as I raised my hand along the rail, guiding my way through the dark. Do this. Not again. I nearly fall back down the spiral of stairs when a shotgun blast rings out from behind me. Despite being just hallucinations, the sounds and voices seem eerily real. What was I supposed to do? I see the top in sight and put forth another step. Fall into the abyss once again as the stairs vanish beneath me. Ow! I wake up in the midst of falling out of bed. The back of my head nearly hits a wall, and the pain from landing on my rear makes me let out a loud yell. Mason snores as I curl up into a ball, massaging my tail from the impact of the fall. Eventually, I reach up and grab my phone. The screen blinds me for a brief minute before I see the time. 2 a.m. I pull myself back into bed and try to fall asleep again, but I'm wide awake from the shock of it all. I let out a defeated sigh before grabbing my room key and stepping outside for some fresh air. The breeze outside is a bit uncomfortable in my thin pajamas, but at least it isn't as stuffy as a motel room. I occasionally scroll through my texts, wondering if the signal ever picked up, but I spend most of my time looking through the trees. But my mind keeps wandering back to the nightmare. Those voices didn't seem like my friends. I can't shake the feeling that something is wrong out of my brain. I try to tell myself it's just some stupid fucked up paranoia. The yells I can hear from around the corner don't help my case. I just wish that whoever is there would shut the hell up and go back to bed. Eventually, I had enough and just gave up on letting the anxiety pass, opting to go back in. As I lock the door and enter, I notice something's off. Jake isn't next to Mason. Where's Jake? Where's Jake from State Farm? Chat 2 Schism. Okay, we'll just stop right here. Pre-split. Did they say there was going to be routes in this game? I'm a bit curious. Anyway. Well, that was fun. So I guess Silas wants to talk about something. And I can't wait. Because he's my favorite. And yes, I am biased. But Jake left. So I wonder what's going on. Okay, if I had to rate them on terms of like attractiveness, Silas is my number 1, obviously. Mason's my number 2, but he can be a bit overbearing. And then Jake's gonna be my number 3. He's cute and all, but I don't think I could get past the smoker's habit. But yeah, there's that. Now, I have a feeling that all those voices from the dream are just bits and pieces of the mass exorcist that Zeke conveniently forgot. So something definitely happened between this friend group. And maybe the trauma was just so unbelievable to Zeke that he forgot about it. And everyone seems so, and that's why everyone felt so off. They probably did something. Because also a gun was involved. Because we heard a pistol cock and then we heard a gunshot ring out. So something must have happened. They all must have done something to Zeke. And now they're all like really nervous around him. That's insane. Well, until the next part, thank you all so much for clicking on this video. If you enjoyed it, give it a like, and subscribe if you're really interested. I'll leave a link to the game in the description below if you want to play for yourself, as well as links to my Twitter and Blue Site if you want to support me on those platforms. And as always, I'll be leaving a link to the visual novel me and my good friend Zeta Panda made for the February Game Jam called When You're Mine. Please don't show your support to it. If you do enjoy it, maybe consider rating and commenting on itchio. We love reading those, it makes our day. And plus, we're almost at 200 downloads. We're stuck at 196. I feel like we could get there. It's just so exciting. Well, anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye!